Mom keeps seeing little boy at her son's grave, she asks. "Who are you?" The boy's response is shocking. It is often tragic when a soldier dies in action. It would be hard on his family because they wouldn't see him anymore. Although the story we are going to share with you now is somehow tragic, there is something beautiful in it. We will together find out why the little boy was at the grave. That's what you'll find out at the end of the video. Before that, like the video and share it with others. But before we meet the little boy at the grave, there is another special story about two strangers whose path crossed through misfortune and a good deed. Officer Tiffany Dial gave a salute during the funeral procession of a deceased officer. The officer had died during an attempt to arrest someone. It was a rainy day during the funeral procession, which made Tiffany stay out of respect. A passerby who was standing under his umbrella decided to share it with her to get some protection from the rain. Would you do the same if you met a dedicated officer standing in the rain? The gentleman then walked up to her and held his big umbrella over her head. But Tiffany was unaware that he stood behind her for 30 minutes. Her hat blocked her view. Some people took pictures while passing by, and that seemed a little bit strange to her. But she didn't give it much attention because what she was doing was normal to her. Every officer is saluted in this way when they die. The gentleman didn't speak to her and was gone before she turned around. A few days later, a picture of the both of them came online, and it was the talk of the town as it attracted the attention of many people were curious about the mysterious man. There was even a post on Facebook to find him. The gentleman holding the umbrella was Sean Allen. He worked in the same building as Tiffany. However, that was not the reason he held the umbrella above her. He was at work the day looking for updates on the procession. He wanted to know if it passed by the building where he worked, and if so, he would go outside to show his respect, and so he did. The procession was a very emotional display for Sean. He was impressed that Officer Tiffany also stood there to pay her respects to the deceased agent. Despite the rain, that day brought a change in Tiffany's life. Thanks to Sean, she learned that people do care about officers. Sometimes it is easy to lose hope as an officer. It is nice to see good things in people. Later, when Tiffany and Sean met again, they embraced each other and Tiffany thanked him for his kindness. The letter to the military mother, a gesture of kindness out of respect, can really make all the difference in somebody's life. Like in the story of Tiffany and Sean, in the following story, a stranger performs a friendly act as well. A mother of two named Jody was a hairdresser in daily life and worked in a hair salon. When she left work one afternoon, she saw something unusual on her black and white car. There was something strange on our windscreen. It was hard to see what it was from a distance, but as she approached, she saw it was a piece of paper. What could it be? Was it a fine from the police? Luckily, it wasn't. It also wasn't an advertising leaflet or any other advertisement. It was a handwritten letter. Who was it from and what did it say? Did she have a silent admirer? Judy got confused. Why would someone do this? She hesitated but took the letter and opened it. The letter came from an unknown person and she didn't expect what was in it. The person who wrote the letter had seen a sticker on the back of Jody's car. The sticker on the back of Jody's car said, "Proud parent of a soldier." The anonymous writer wanted to get in touch with Jody through a positive letter. The slogan on the sticker was simple but meant a lot to the writer. This person was grateful to soldiers and wanted to give something back out of gratitude and respect. The writer not only left a letter, but also a $20 note. The letter had instructions on how to use the money. The person explained that Jody had to spend the money on the special soldier in her life. She should send the money to the soldier if he was in the Middle East for a meal or something luxurious, or she could keep the money until the soldier had returned safely. The letter touched Jody deeply. She had two sons who were both in the army, and like any mother or relative, she always had her boys in mind, and she worried about them. When she received the letter, both sons were miles away at work. Her eldest son, Jacob, was 22 and abroad in South Korea. Her 20-year-old, Daniel, was stationed in North Carolina. The letter reminded her of her sons, but the letter ended only with the instructions. The person also told her that she prayed every day for the army all over the world. She prayed especially for those who were in a dangerous war zone. She signed the letter with all the best, Shelley, but Jody did not know anyone named Shelley, so it was a stranger who had made her day. Did you ever make a stranger's day? Let us know in the comments. This anonymous person took the time to express her support to another stranger out of respect for the soldiers. Jody read the letter twice before the content sank in. Then she broke into tears and was very grateful to this person for showing her support. She missed her sons very much at that moment, and the letter meant a lot to her. It came at the right time because she could use some support. The fact that a random stranger had taken a moment out of her day to comfort someone else touched her. Jody would like to meet this person to say thank you. She also wants to tell this person how much the little gesture meant to her and her family, so you can see what a small gesture in itself can do. Now we turn to the mother and the little boy on the grave. The story begins with Thomas, who joined the army in 2007. 1 year later, he married his high school girlfriend Holaguz, and this made him very happy. The couple got a son together and Thomas was just very happy. Shortly after that, however, he had to go to Afghanistan. It was difficult for Thomas to depart and leave his family behind, but he had to do his job and serve his country. After saying goodbye to his wife and son, he left. Holly had a nasty feeling in her stomach. It felt like something horrible might happen, and indeed, during a patrol in Afghanistan, a rebel they encountered killed Thomas. The rebel wore a vest loaded with explosives and attacked the group. Thomas died instantly and never returned home. It later turned out that Thomas had switched places with another soldier that day. He had saved this soldier's life and was therefore twice a hero. He had made a sacrifice for his country and his fellow soldiers. It came as a great shock to his family, of course, to hear the news that their beloved Thomas had passed away. Thomas got a military funeral, and he got his final resting place in a cemetery where other Army heroes also lay buried. A year after his death, he was remembered on Commemoration Day. Every year they commemorate soldiers on Commemoration Day. On that day, besides the relatives, some strangers want to show their gratitude and support to the Army. Thomas's family has been there every year since his death, but 4 years after his death, when Thomas' family was commemorating him for the 4th time, something unusual happened in the cemetery. There was also a little boy called Mason. He was there with his mother and held her hand. Together they placed the national flag on every tombstone. This was their way of showing respect for the heroes they were doing. That when Mason suddenly disappeared, his mother shouted at him, and pretty soon she saw him. He was near and sat by one of the gravestones. Whose grave was it? Yes, you guessed right. He sat near Thomas' grave and carefully read the engravings. He had so many questions to ask his mother. He wanted to know more about Thomas' life and his family. Despite Mason being so young, he could feel the pain that Thomas' family had gone through. His mother answered his questions and also told him about other soldiers. When Mason heard the stories, some tears rolled down his cheek. These memories touched him deeply. In the following year, he returned to Thomas's grave, but this time he would also do a gesture as a sign of gratitude. What do you think he did? During the ceremony, Mason sat next to Thomas's gravestone. He carried flowers and a drawing with him. He had made the drawing himself. It showed his hero from the comic books, Captain America. When people asked the 7-year-old Mason why he had done all this, he replied that Thomas was a hero just like Captain America. He said that Thomas had done a lot for his compatriots and that he had to be remembered for this. This beautiful act of the little Mason filled the hearts of Thomas' relatives with warmth. He was still so young but already showed a lot of gratitude. Thomas, his mother, was deeply moved by what the little boy had done and felt somewhat less sad for the loss of her son. It is always nice when others remember and show honor for the person you have lost. Mason had meant a lot to Thomas's entire family that day. Give us a like and leave a comment if you also loved what the boy did, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications bell so you'll never miss one of our heartwarming stories again.